Tensions are rising as one player finally breaks his silence after being publicly dismissed at a critical point in the season. His response is raw, honest, and filled with emotion, the kind of message that forces everyone to take notice. After being sidelined when his team needed him most, he's now revealing what really went on behind the scenes and how that moment fueled his determination. The honesty in his words sheds light on the pressure, the frustration, and the pride of an athlete fighting to prove himself. Stay tuned, because this revelation isn't just a reaction, it's a statement that could reignite old tensions and change how fans view one of the season's most controversial moments. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we jump into this wild story, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on those notifications so you never miss another explosive update from the MLB world. Because today, we're diving into a brewing storm between Michael Conforto and Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, and trust me, this one's got all the drama, emotion, and fire you could imagine. The kind of tension that shakes a locker room and makes fans question everything they thought they knew about team chemistry. So here's what went down. Michael Conforto, a veteran outfielder known for his consistency, professionalism, and calm demeanor, has finally broken his silence after being subtly but publicly denigrated by Dave Roberts during a key stretch of the Dodgers season. Now, for those who've been following the Dodgers this year, you know how much pressure this team's been under. Between injuries, lineup adjustments, and massive expectations after their blockbuster signings, every little decision by Roberts has been under the microscope. But this latest controversy isn't about analytics or matchups. It's about respect, communication, and how a single manager's comment can ripple through a team like an earthquake. Let's rewind for a second. A few weeks ago, the Dodgers were in the middle of a tough series, the kind of series that can define the tone of the second half of a season. Conforto, who had been battling through a minor slump, found himself on the bench at a critical moment. When asked about the decision, Dave Roberts told reporters something that immediately raised eyebrows. He said, quote, "We just need guys who can compete every at-bat, who are going to fight through these moments. Some players right now just aren't giving us that." He didn't name names, but everyone in that press room knew who he was talking about. It wasn't Mookie, it wasn't Freddie, and it definitely wasn't one of the young prospects. It was Michael Conforto, the quiet, methodical veteran who's been doing his best to adapt in a lineup full of stars. At first, Conforto stayed silent. No reaction, no quotes, nothing. He played it cool, the way professionals do. But as days went by, people began to notice his body language, the lack of his usual energy, the subtle frustration at the plate. And then, finally, after weeks of silence, he spoke. In a post-game interview that sent shockwaves through the baseball world, Conforto finally opened up. He didn't go for headlines, but what he said was powerful, raw, and honest. He said, "When you've played this game as long as I have, you learn to deal with criticism. But what hurt wasn't the benching. It was feeling like my commitment to this team, my work, and my effort were questioned publicly. I've given everything I've got to this organization, and sometimes you just wish those conversations stayed between a player and a manager." Boom. That one statement hit hard. It wasn't angry or disrespectful, it was human. It was emotional. It was the kind of truth that fans can feel deep down. And immediately it set off a media storm. Was Dave Roberts out of line for making that comment? Did he cross a line by seemingly calling out a respected veteran in front of the world? Or was he just trying to motivate his players in the only way he knew how? Inside sources close to the team say this isn't just about one comment. There's been tension brewing quietly for weeks. Conforto's role has been inconsistent, his at-bats sporadic, and his confidence tested by constant lineup changes. And when you're a player who thrives on rhythm, that can eat at you. Especially in Los Angeles, where the expectations are sky high and every performance is dissected by millions. The Dodgers are known for being a family-first, player-friendly organization. That's part of what makes this story so shocking. Roberts has always been seen as a player's manager, someone who builds relationships and protects his guys. But in this case, that trust might have cracked. One anonymous teammate reportedly said, "Conforto didn't deserve that. He's one of the hardest working guys in this clubhouse." Everyone felt that comment. It's one thing to be benched, that happens in baseball all the time. But being called out publicly, even indirectly, hits differently. Especially when it comes from someone who's supposed to have your back. And for Conforto, who's battled through injuries, self-doubt, and the ups and downs of his career, it must have felt like a punch to the gut. Now, let's take a second to remember who Michael Conforto really is. We're talking about a guy who came into the league with high expectations, made a name for himself in New York with the Mets, and rebuilt his reputation through sheer perseverance. He's not flashy, he's not loud, he's steady. He's that quiet professional every team needs. So to hear that he felt denigrated, that's a heavy word. It makes you wonder what's really going on behind closed doors in that Dodgers clubhouse. After Conforto's comments went public, reporters immediately turned to Roberts for a response. And Dave, being the media-savvy guy he is, tried to smooth things over. He said, "Look, I've got nothing but respect for Michael. He's a competitor. Sometimes I say things that get taken the wrong way, but everything I do is to get the best out of our guys. Michael knows that." But fans weren't buying it. Social media lit up with takes from both sides. What makes it more complicated is that Roberts himself is under pressure. The Dodgers are expected to win it all, and anything less is seen as failure. When that kind of weight builds, even the most composed manager can start making emotionally charged decisions. Some analysts have said Roberts' comment about players not competing every at-bat was less about Conforto and more about setting a tone for the whole team, but when you're a veteran singled out by implication, that's a hard pill to swallow. In the following games after his statement, Conforto tried to let his bat do the talking. And in one game, he did just that, crushing a home run in a big moment, rounding the bases with a quiet intensity that told everyone, "I'm still here." When he got back to the dugout, Roberts gave him a pat on the shoulder, but the interaction was awkward. You could see it, the energy wasn't the same. The cameras caught it, and the fans noticed. That home run was more than just a stat on a box score. It was a message. A reminder that no matter what's said in the media, talent and heart can't be silenced. After that game, Conforto was asked about his mindset, and he said something telling. "At the end of the day, I play for my teammates and for the fans. That's who I'm accountable to." That was classy, but if you read between the lines, it was also a subtle shot. Now, behind the scenes, there's talk that team leaders like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman have stepped in to calm the situation. They reportedly had a team meeting, not official, but one of those closed-door talks where veterans hash things out. And from what's been said, the message was clear: whatever's going on, it can't divide the team. They've come too far, worked too hard, and have too much to lose. The Dodgers have always prided themselves on professionalism, but this situation is testing that image. For Roberts, it's a reminder that words matter. Even when you think you're sending a message to the team, you're also shaping the way individuals feel valued. And for Conforto, it's a test of resilience, how you bounce back when the person leading the charge seems to doubt you. In the days since Conforto's comments, there's been a quiet effort by the Dodgers organization to manage the narrative. Media access has been tighter, questions about the incident have been deflected, and both sides are trying to move forward. But the fans can see the tension, and it's not going away easily. For Conforto, this might end up being a turning point in his career. He's 31, still got plenty of game left, and other teams around the league are surely paying attention. A player with his discipline and experience is always in demand, especially one who handles adversity with maturity. But you have to wonder, will the Dodgers' treatment of him leave a mark? Will he still want to be part of a system where he felt disrespected, even once? And for Roberts, this might be one of those moments that define his leadership legacy. Every great manager has to balance honesty and empathy, knowing when to push and when to protect. Maybe he thought calling out certain players would light a fire. Maybe it did. But it also burned a bridge, at least for now.